Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an exciting match between TSM Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. Now, hopping into this game, my name is Loud Thoughtson. First of all, let's quickly review where these two teams are standing as we are starting to come to the very end of the season. This should be the last week of play for both of these Academy teams, and taking a look at the standings so far, TSM Academy setting 10-6 in second place, with Golden Guardians just behind them at 9-7, tied in a three-way tie for third place. So what that means for these two teams, Golden Guardians is looking for a decisive win here in order to not only bump themselves up above the rest of the third place teams, but to also steal away and contest for that second place bye that these Academy teams will be getting once they head into the bracket series starting next week. So what are we going to be looking for? We're going to look for Golden Guardians to be trying and make some aggressive plays for themselves, try and pick up this game. And more than anything else, they want to find their advantages when they can, based off of their 380 carry composition that they have going on. Corki, Ash, Graves in the jungle. These are going to be high damage late game carries. So while they need to be looking for aggressive plays, more than anything else, they need to be looking for very well-timed aggressive plays because they don't exactly have, the best of front lines. Really, Graves being an off-tank and Shen support coming, the Shen's support coming in from the top side, going to be the two major forms of tanking that Golden Guardians will have available for themselves, whereas we have a more traditional style composition coming in from TSM here. They have, a Senna who's the least traditional of the 80 carries, but it still plays that 80 carry role. You have an Olaf jungle, Mage in the mid lane, typical Bruiser in the top side, in this Camille that was blind picked. Unfortunately for Dokla, having to deal with this matchup in the top side versus the Shen, a traditionally very solid matchup for Shen because of his ability to dodge away from some of those empowered auto attacks that Camille gets, using the W ability in order to dodge away from those auto attacks in order to make sure that he's taking advantageous trades for himself. And keep in mind, Shen just got buffed as well. His warped blades are going to be doing a little bit more damage per auto attack since he just received a buff in the past couple of patches, which means that his trading ability into a bruiser like Camille, on top of how tanky he's going to get, on top of the fact that his kit naturally counters Camille's, is going to be doing so much work towards his top side. So that's where I'm expecting to see a lot of Golden Guardians trying to pull out their advantages in the early game. However, we were talking about TSM. We're going to be looking to see what they can do for themselves, and I want to see them try and take advantage of the composition that Golden Guardians have drafted for themselves, specifically with Winston's Olaf pick. He is looking to play a hyper-aggressive game in the early game. Already, we see him towards this top side of the map, trying to get into that tri-bush, trying to see if he can sneak his way into a top lane gank there. Unfortunately for him, Zion Spartan could smell that one coming, and so he backs away from that one, takes a quick back to base while Dokla is just freezing the wave in the middle of this lane. It's going to be slowly pushing towards Zion Spartan, so it's going to be in a good spot for the Shen in order to pick up the rest of these minion waves. Great prediction there, or a great read of the map coming out there by Zion Spartan in order to make sure that he is not putting himself in a compromised position for an early game gank. But as we were saying, though, we want to see this Olaf, we want to see Winston looking for more aggressive plays here, looking to try and snowball one of his lanes in the early game. They have the Camille who's looking to make plays. They have the LeBlanc who's looking to make plays. Even the Senna and Bard can help set up an Olaf with the heals and the stuns that they're going to be providing. And it seems that a lot of the TSM draft is based around getting Winston running in the early game. And running with Ragnarok in the mid to late game, that's for sure. But we do want to see him try and get into these lanes, start making an impact, because the later this game goes, the tankier Shen gets, the more items are going to be completed by the 80 carries of Golden Guardians, and so the longer this game goes, the more advantageous it will be for the Golden Guardians team. We do see a little bit of a trade going on the top side, and right there we just see that one auto attack doing a good 100+ damage there from Zion Spartan, making it an even trade, despite the fact that it was started off by Dokla, and we're really seeing why this Shen was picked as the last pick here for the side of Golden Guardians, trying to give Zion Spartan the counter matchup and giving himself what looks to be a decent lane once he's able to get his hands on a couple of armor items, specifically looking towards those ninja tabbies, looking towards that early Sunfire cape, or even a Tiamat if he wants to go full trade in the top side of the map. 5 minutes on the clock. Dragon has spawned onto the map. Neither one of these teams really making a move for it just quite yet, as once again we do see Winston towards that top side, maybe looking to get behind Zion Spartan once more, but he was seen out by a ward, so he's going to have that early red sweeper there. He's going to catch out that ward to get a little bit of extra gold for his time and troubles, but it means he is wasting a lot of time on this top side trying to force something for his Camille, when that's maybe not the best lane that you should be trying to influence here, especially considering that Dokla has had this lane pushed up for a majority of this game so far, not really allowing him to push the wave backwards towards his side of the lane and opening up an avenue for Olaf to get in behind the Shen. Meanwhile, with the read on seeing the Olaf in the top side, we do have Golden Guardians coming out with the first objective of this game. They pick up the Infernal Drake right there, so that will be the first dragon going down at 6 minutes. Mountain Dragon will be the next one, so we are going to be looking towards a Wind or Ocean Soul coming up in the future. We'll have to wait and see which one of those comes out. In the meantime, though, so far, so good for Golden Guardians. Nothing has happened at 6 minutes into this game. Winston has not found a gank. He's going top once again, just trying to see if he can find a way onto this Shen, but he just has to back. He's spending so much time here. Zion Spartan has moved up. He hasn't canceled his back yet. If he wanted an opportunity to go, now should be it. He does cancel it eventually, but it looks like they're just playing a game of chicken with each other. I don't know what they're thinking at this point. TSM wants to make something happen. Golden Guardians is not going to let them have something. And so Winston wastes an entire minute towards the top side of the map and isn't able to get a single gank off there. Meanwhile, Graves just went back, was able to purchase himself a couple of extra long swords. You have Corky farming up, you have Ash farming up, you have Graves continuing to farm up, and is starting to slowly develop himself a CS lead in the jungle, despite how the rest of the game's going, because Winston's just sitting topside. He finally makes his way down to the bottom side of the map. It's going to be clearing out his bot side jungle. But speaking of CS leads, we do have to give it over to Dokla and Winston for creating a marginal lead of a 20 CS between Zion Spartan and Dokla. So there is some advantage coming in from the Olaf being on the top side, but 20 CS is not going to make the world of difference when the Corky is going even with the Blanc, when the Graves is starting to outfarm the Olaf, when the Ashe is outfarming the Senna. You're losing advantages across the rest of the map just so that your Camille can have a slight CS lead. And that's only going to stay as an advantage until Zion Spartan is able to pick up the likes of a Thornmail, like he just finished. The Brambles Vest coming in is going to help so much with these trades versus Dokla in terms of the long extended trades, mitigating the Conqueror. But we do have a gank coming in. That's going to be hard, finally finding the first gank coming in. He's going to get a bunch of damage down. Flash forward is not going to be enough to really pick up the kill here. A couple more auto attacks. A flash forward coming in from Zion Spartan. And the ultimate comes out from hard, but is not going to be enough as Dokla flashes away from that one, is able to keep himself safe. A little overforced there by Golden Guardians, but you love to see the aggressive plays coming in at a timely fashion, as we mentioned before. Graves comes into the top side. He's taken all this time to farm up the jungle. He's still even, and despite using his summoner spells there, he's able to force the flash out of the Camille, which means Camille's not going to be looking for anything aggressive towards that top side of the map anymore. She doesn't have the instant kill potential on Shen now that he's completed the Brambles Vest. She just completed her Tiamat, so she's going to be constantly shoving out the wave, and she's, all in all, if anything, Dokla is hurting himself with this early Tiamat pick, because now he's not going to be able to take solid trades versus Zion Spartan, and is instead going to be constantly pushing his wave up without a flash, without his teleport available. And so he's going to be very susceptible to ganks. Graves goes down towards the bottom side of the jungle and then just rotates back up towards the top side once he's cleared out his camps. And once again, you just go for that regank, as you always see when you have those summoner spells down. However, we do have Winston deciding to finally use some of that top aggression to his advantage, starting up the Rift Herald, it looks like, but instead he's going to be backing away from that one as Evolved and Blaze Olive go for a trade in the mid lane. Evolved backing away as hard, just makes his merry way through the middle of the lane. That's a lot of M's in that stance. But it is going to be the entire side of the Golden Guardians, minus the Ashe, it looks like, rotating their way up towards this top side of the map. They want to try and contest for this Rift Herald while there's still a minute left on the Dragon respawn timer. Winston did have an opportunity to start that one up, but decided to back away and look for a potential play on the top side. They need to try and start forcing things on the side of TSM Academy. I cannot stress this enough, that if they are looking to contest this game, They have to make the early aggressive plays because they have picked early aggressive champions. They have some scaling in Camille. They have some scaling in Senna. But it is going to be nothing to the likes of a Corki, Ashe, and Graves in the late game that has a Shen who can stand united on top of any one of their carries that gets picked out by the Hextech Ultimatum or by the Ragnarok. Looks like TSM Academy is going to be able to pick up this Rift Herald, though everyone from Golden Guardians had made their way up towards that top side of the map, but we're not able to find an aggressive play towards that Rift Herald because Winston was standing around watching them saying, hey, if you want to try and start it, I'll be here waiting for you. So he finally sneaks his way back in towards that Rift Herald. He's able to pick up the Eye of the Herald, and so Shelly will be visiting a lane near you soon as he's able to find some kind of advantageous position to put it down. Meanwhile, Dragon also respawned onto the map, and immediately we see Golden Guardians rotating down towards that one as they know that Winston is on the top side. So, it is going to be Chime, Keith, and Hard that make their way over towards this Mountain Drake. Double Dragon advantage going over for Golden Guardians as we wait to see what the soul will be. It is going to be a Wind Drake. An interesting one for sure. If we take a look across the board and which one we think is going to be a little bit better, which team is going to get more advantages from it, I definitely have to say that TSM is going to love having the Cloud Soul much more. Specifically when it comes to the fact that Ragnarok with Wind Soul is an absolutely disgusting run-you-down combination that you can have going for your team. On top of the fact that he's going to have the Senna heals in order to back him up, really the biggest reason that TSM picked this Senna alongside the Olaf is so that they can use the combo of you have two people running in, Dokla and Winston, and then you can have Senna lost sitting in the back lane, throwing out those heals, throwing out those shields, and just supporting the rest of the team. There's enough AD damage on TSM in the mid game that they're going to be able to take these team fights. Again, the issue always just comes down to what is the positioning on the 380 carries from Golden Guardians going to be, and how many items are they going to be able to complete before the team fights really start breaking out. We're 12 minutes into this game. No kills have been picked up yet, just a couple of objectives, 2 dragons for Golden Guardians, 1 Rift Herald for TSM Academy. And we need to see something starting to happen. Like, this game's a little boring. It's a little slow, guys. We got to keep going on this one. So, what is TSM looking to do now? Looks like they have the jungler on the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, Hard is towards the top side. Stand United is available for Zion Spartan if he wanted to try and save his bot lane, but TSM, with their ultimates available, should be looking to try and force a play onto this Ashe and Karma, who do not have mobility spells. As soon as they use their flash, they can no longer run away from you. Throw out a couple of undertows, pop the Ragnarok for the enchanted crystal arrow, and you got yourselves a winning combination for Winston to just run down the bot lane of Golden Guardians. However, it looks like he's just going to be clearing out his jungle for now. Biofrost decided to take a back timer here, so tells us that they're not going to be looking for any kind of play towards that bottom side, and top side still Dokla shoving in the waves. Hard is going to be towards this top side of the map, so we have to see if he's going to be looking for another play. Dokla goes in. That's a taunt coming out. Hard is going to be rotating over as quickly as possible, and Zion Spartan is keeping this one going. He walks forward. He's taking auto attacks. He's winning this one without the help of his jungler. Look at the work of Tabbies and Bramble Vest. They're coming in from Zion Spartan. You thought Dokla was doing some damage? No. Dokla was only hurting himself in that situation. Mitigated auto attack damage, some of that mitigated damage going back towards Dokla, on top of the empowered Q auto attacks that Zion Spartan has for himself, means that this Shen, despite him being down 15 CS, despite him being down tempo in the top lane this entire time, has already reached that point where he's going to be winning 1v1s versus the Camille. It's now going to take the completion of Trinity Force and most likely the Tiamat item before Camille can start contesting versus the Shen again. Because after that trade, you have to come to realize that it's just not working. We see a bunch of abilities getting thrown out in the bot lane there. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow looks like it went wide on that one. Flash being thrown out by Lost. That is going to be the summoner spell for both ultimates in the bottom lane. So, Lost will be susceptible to a gank coming up here if Hard wants to try and make his way down towards that bottom side of the map. Dokla, though, still on the top side, was forced to back off and came back to lane, missing about a quarter of his health still here, as Hard looks to sneak his way in behind Dokla. He's stepping aggressively forward. Hard is walking up. He's sitting behind that wall, waiting for Dokla to make an aggressive play. Zion Spartan trying to do his best to look juicy and susceptible to some kind of play here. That's going to be the dash forward. That's going to be the auto attacks coming out the hook onto the wall in order to make his way out there. And Dokla makes his way safe. Great awareness coming in by the top laner TSM to not overforce the situation. Now, it is going to be TSM that have an opportunity to respond in some way. LeBlanc and Olaf are on this top side of the map. Probably just going to be picking up the blue buff, though. I'd like to see them try and make their way towards the top side. Try and pressure this Shen that they have been putting so much work into forcing out of lane and trying to put him behind. But it just doesn't seem to be working. And again, we go back to the CS differential. Sure, you were able to get a 10 CS lead now for Dokla in the top lane, but without any lane influence, Corki has found himself 20 CS up. You also still have that 10 CS difference in the bot lane for Golden Guardians. So we have a slight 500 gold lead for Golden Guardians at this point in the game. We do have a snare coming out onto Keith. 4 people from both teams gathering around this bottom side, but 2 people are cut off for the side of Golden Guardians. They're rotating their way up. Can we see if LeBlanc is going to be able to get a kill here? Dashes forward, gets some damage in, but it looks like they have to back out as it wasn't enough in order to force a kill there. So instead, both teams just backing away as we are at a 16-minute 0-kill game so far. I wish that I could know what the longest Academy game is without a first blood, but this one surely has to be getting close to it as we are just going on and on in this one. Third Dragon has respawned onto the map. It looks like we're finally going to get a team fight. This is going to be where the fight happens. This is going to be where first blood happens. Winston moves up. He throws out the undertow, gets some damage down. Is there anyone to back up TSM's jungler, though? He's trying to find his way into this dragon. There he comes out there and trying to cross the arrow. Ragnarok in order to stop that one, and that is going to be the Sen ultimate as well for the AoE damage and shield. Shen goes forward. Stand United was used in order to get himself into this fight, but it looks like he's going to miss the taunt, and everybody from TSM backs away from that one. Winston too low to try and contest this dragon is the third dragon, and Soul Point goes over to Golden Guardians, and yet no first blood still. My predictions today are all off. I thought there was going to be a Caitlyn this game. There's not. Instead, it's a Senna. And now there's no first blood. 17 minutes into the game, and yet we're still on Soul Point. There's also no first turret yet either. So an extremely slow game coming up by both of these teams. The pressure of these final games of the season coming out here. TSM understanding the repercussions of what happens if they lose this game. They tie up their spot for second place with Golden Guardians, which means they'd have to face them again if they were to lose tomorrow, or both win tomorrow as well. There is going to be one more game, so both of these teams have an opportunity to really contest for that second place bye. However, with gameplay like this going this slow, it is still favoring Golden Guardians. Keep coming back to this point. With so little action going on in this game, with so little tempo for both of these teams in terms of looking for aggressive plays, making the plays work, and forcing out errors from your opponent, we're seeing a barn burner waiting to happen, and with triple AD carry, Golden Guardians is putting themselves in a great position here. So far, we have Bork completed onto Keith's Ash, Ablaze Olive picking up that man immune, understanding just how long this game is going to be going, and he's working towards that Trinity Force as well. First a scaling item, then a super expensive item here coming out from the Corki. They are looking for the long haul game, and they have done a fantastic job so far, stalling out the necessary time for that. Hold on a second, we got first blood and wasn't even on screen. Ablaze Olive is on the bottom side of the lane, is in the bottom lane making things happen. Meanwhile, that's going to be a smite steal coming in from Golden Guardians. Everything's going their way as they're able to pick their way onto the Rift Herald, and immediately TSM Academy has to back away from that one. It must be feeling so bad. 18.5 minutes into this game, and suddenly we have first blood and a stolen objective. Keep in mind, we never saw Rift Herald getting used before earlier. It may have been used in the top lane, but we do have a fight coming into the mid lane. TSM Winston picks up a kill onto Keith there. Ragnarok was forced on that one as Enchanted Crusader had been used, and it will not result in anything else besides a quick kill. 1-for-1 so far at the end of this long extended trade, but the Rift Herald will be dropped down in the mid lane, picking up the first turret for Golden Guardians and opening up the map for themselves. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Dokla is going to be continuing his split push efforts. Shen is nowhere to be found. He will back away as he is dropped down the spot lane, turn extremely low. One more wave should be enough if nobody is there to respond to him, and it looks like nobody from Golden Guardians is going to be able to make their way down there in time, so they are deciding to give this one up instead, make their way towards the middle lane, and start placing down some wards, placing down some vision, getting an idea of what their next plan of attack will be. Turrets 2-1, TSM kills 1-1, but we have 2 minutes on the Dragon. Baron is also going to be spawning just now as we have passed over that 20-minute mark. So, a couple of major objectives making their way onto the map in relatively short time of each other. Neither one of these teams is in a good position in order to do Baron, unless you're looking at the ward coverage for Golden Guardians and they're able to sneak it away. But I don't think that they have the necessary strength at this point in order to make that one happen. Shen can only tank for so long. You really want to try and get him onto his second item before you start looking for a actual Baron fight here. Meanwhile, with Dragon spawning in a minute 30, Golden Guardians and TSM are both going to have to contest for that one. Most likely where the next objective fight is going to be happening will be on that bottom side of the map, as it is sole point for Golden Guardians. And while Wind Soul is not the most important Drake to be picking up, it is still a soul nonetheless. And that would open up the Elder Dragon to be spawning in another 5 minutes once that dragon has been picked up as well. And when you have soul, it just helps all around, because the Stand United is going to give him an extra bit of move speed. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, same thing. Imagine every quirky package giving him just a burst of move speed, and Ablaze Olive is going to be impossible to catch. And while it's not going to be as great as the Ragnarok Wind Soul combination that we spoke about before, it's still a great dragon to have in terms of cooldown reduction for the Stand United, in terms of the movement speed that you get when you've used the ultimate both in and out of combat. And so, 25 seconds left on that dragon. We're going to see both of these teams start making their way towards that dragon pit, start and try and get that ward coverage absolutely on their side here. Couple of quick backs coming out from Golden Guardians here, though, as the dragon is going to be spawning onto the map. Surprised to see that one, but it is going to be the immediate teleport coming out from Keith. He wanted to pick up a Zeal, it looks like, before this team fight breaks out, so a little bit more strength. Corki also picking up, going back to base, picking up a BF sword. He does have the completed mirror mana. That's an insane power boost for this point in the game. So, who's going to get the inside track on this dragon? Minion waves are completely evened out. Actually, minion waves in the mid lane are in favor of Golden Guardians. However, it is Golden Guardians that are going to be starting up this dragon as well. They have the inside track towards mid lane. They have a great way to escape through. TSM trying to pressure their way into this one. Evolved is standing on the side. He's looking for a way in onto one of the 3 carries of Golden Guardians. Dragon has been reset. Both of these teams are so scared to let this fight happen because they know this could make or break the game for either one of these teams here. Evolved goes forward, is not going to be able to find much besides a little bit of poke. And now Ablaze Olive once again shoving out that mid lane. He has the package. He's looking for a play onto Evolved here. A dash away will keep the LeBlanc safe for now, and that is going to be the Valkyrie coming in. Just getting his way over to the rest of his team is not actually going to be a very impactful ability there. However, there's the Tempered Fate coming out, forcing a flash out of Keith. They're going in. That's going to be the smite coming in from Winston as the fight breaks out completely. Chimes dropping down extremely low, hard in the backline as well. Keith caught out of position, though, as he was too far for the rest of his team backing out. They're trying to keep this one going up through the top side of the jungle here. Zion Spartan is not going to be able to do too much for his team once the Stand United is already down, and a triple kill coming in from Lost there, finding his way through all the members of Golden Guardians. Immediate rotation going over to Baron, and this game explodes in a favor for TSM. The positioning there from Lost was phenomenal at the back end of that fight. If you had seen his ability to shoot through 4 members of Golden Guardians, get the chunks down, get the picks down, it was an amazing job by TSM in order to layer their fight in a way front to back while still being able to hit the backline of Golden Guardians, finding their way into that backline, being the biggest difference maker there. Winston and Dokla diving onto the carries, catching Keith out of position, forcing Chimes to back off, forcing Hart to back off, and leaving the Ashe out alone. All around, and finally some exciting action going on in this game. We have the team fight win going over for TSM. They are also able to pick up that dragon and moving themselves along to the next Wind Drake of the game. So no Elder Drake available just quite yet for both of these teams. However, we will keep an eye on how TSM is able to use this Baron for themselves. They're most likely going to be breaking the mid-outer turret here. We also do see a 1-3-1 formation kind of being set up here, with Bard roaming in the jungle in order to help keep the Camille safe towards the bottom side of the map. Winston will also be sitting around this mid lane top side of the map in case he needs to make a quick rotation over to LeBlanc. Senna absorbing waves Dokla absorbing waves, Evolved absorbing waves. All of the main carries of TSM are going to be just pressuring these turrets across the map, taking up the minion waves and doing their best in order to force Golden Guardians to play to their tempo. As a Blaze Olive takes a massive chunk from that quick dash coming in from Evolved. Mid lane outer turret has gone down. We do see Golden Guardians finally deciding that they've had enough with the split push. They're gathering towards the top side of the map. Are they going to be able to force a play here onto anyone in TSM, as Evolved is able to pick up the top lane inner turret for himself as well? So far, so good for TSM. They have not lost a single member, not lost a single Baron, and they have picked themselves up 2 turrets, expanding what is a massive gold lead of 5,000 gold for themselves. When we were having such a slow early game, this game has suddenly erupted into a pile of action here for TSM Academy. Trying to hold on to their second place seed for sure. They do not want to be giving over any kind of unnecessary wins when they could have the bye going into playoffs next week, as we do see another turret, I believe, going down towards that bottom side of the map. Dokla was able to pick up that one for himself. Scion Spartan trying to just absorb these waves hard, coming in to support him with his wave clearing efforts, as again another turret going down in the mid lane. That is 4 turrets coming in from this Baron power play made by TSM here, as they are still working with just a little bit of their Baron timer left here. They're going to be pressuring all 3 waves here. Dokla is hitting that bottom lane inhibitor turret hard. Is there? That is a huge chunk coming out from Dokla's empowered auto attack. Sheen proc, a Q ability, all coming in, as Dokla is trying to find his way onto Zion Spartan. Winston also sitting off to the side, just making sure that every single one of these lanes cannot be pressured, and it seems like it is a 5-man front coming in from TSM. They're going to be able to break down the mid lane inhibitor turret. Now a 5 turret pickup off the back of this Baron power play. Instead, they're just leaving it standing with 1 auto attack left. If Lost had thrown out 1 more auto attack, that would have been the turret for sure there. Zion Spartan finally getting some alone time with these minions. The Baron finally wearing off, so it is only going to be the 4 turrets, but such a massive lead brought in by TSM. They're now sitting on a 6,500 gold lead off of the back of 1 team fight that they were able to win for themselves. And that's kind of the issue that we were seeing with Golden Guardians draft coming into this game. The triple AD carry comp, while they do scale amazingly into the late game in terms of damage potential, while they are able to do a lot of work for themselves, it does not matter if they do not have the engage. As we take a look at the gold along the bottom here, you see a massive lead for Lost. You see a massive lead for Dokla, sitting at 2,500, 3,500 gold advantages apiece. Both of these carries coming in huge for TSM Academy, as they're just going to continue to try and force their way into this, as they continue to try and force their way into the enemy base here, pressuring this bottom side of the map relentlessly. This time Evolved being down there in the bottom lane, trying to get a good trade onto Zion Spartan, as Winston is just soloing out that dragon. A great teleport back coming in by Evolved there in order to dodge away from that enchanted crystal arrow. The timing just a second, half a second off for Keith there on the timing for that stun. They could have picked up a kill for themselves, but unlucky, as they do say. Winston is going to be able to pick up that dragon in just a second here. I don't know why he didn't just auto attack it there, but interesting enough, he was able to pick it up regardless, as Baron is going to be spawning in about 1:20 here. I don't expect another Baron will be needed for TSM in order to finish this game out if they continue to play the way they have been playing so far. Despite their lack of aggression in the early game like we wanted to see coming out of them, they were able to find the monumental win around the Dragon Pit in order to bring out a huge gold lead for themselves. And we can already see how it's affecting the itemization of both of these teams here. Senna sitting on 4 items and a pair of boots compared to Ash's 2.5, or 2 and 2 halves, Executioners and Aegis. I guess, would that count as 3 items, or would that count as 2 and 2 halves? Chat, ask yourself that. Meanwhile, top side of the map, we have 3 completed items to the 2.5 coming in from Shen. All across the board, TSM Academy able to find the itemizations that they need, and they just are looking for any window of opportunity where they can try and make their way into the enemy base, looking for picks, looking for the ward coverage, most importantly around this Baron. It looks like they are going to opt towards the big purple worm for their means of ending this game. If the enemy won't fight you underneath their turrets, then you might as well force them to come fight you at the Baron pit, right? 1v1s or 5v5s, I suppose, in this situation. So TSM Academy pushing in deep into the top side of Golden Guardians Golden Guardians jungle, trying to get the ward coverage down. They've cleared out a large amount of these wards, but nothing anywhere past the red buff pit. Instead, Winston throwing out an undertow, trying to find his way through this jungle without getting picked out here. It feels real tense for Winston here as he's playing Ring Around the Rosie with Hard and the rest of Golden Guardians here. Chime coming in just to make sure that Hard doesn't get caught out of position accidentally. Dokla is still on the bottom side of the map. Lost. Biofrost still in that middle lane trying to pressure these turrets as much as they can. The Baron is completely void of wards for Golden Guardians, so if there's ever an opportunity for TSM to pick up that Baron, they know that they can do it with an ease of mind as they're just continuing to try and clear out the ward coverage in the enemy jungle before they get anything done around that massive buff. And they will finally find the rest of the wards, minus that one pink ward in the very back there. Winston did see it, but decided it's not worth his time to pick up. Backing away from that one, just look at that coverage in the red side jungle of Golden Guardians. You got a pink ward pushed up into the middle of the jungle on both sides. You have wards around the pit. You have wards in the pit as well. And meanwhile, Dokla still, this entire time, pressuring towards that bot lane inhibitor turret, getting good trades on a Zion Spartan, getting good chunks down onto that turret there, as the mid lane inhibitor turret, surprisingly still alive here. I thought they would have for sure picked that one up by now, but what is TSM going to be doing in order to try and force this one to happen? Because keep in mind, we're still looking at Golden Guardians to scale. We've been talking about it this entire time. They're going to be continuously looking to just farm out waves, prevent this game from ending too quickly. The more items, the better. The later, the better. Baron being started up, not for the better for Golden Guardians here, as that is going to be the Hawk shot coming in. They will be able to see this one has been started up, so Golden Guardians are immediately rotating their way over. Zion Spartan does have the Stand United available, but Dokla has the teleport and the Hextech ultimatum in order to contest that one. Evolve dashes forward. He's going to get chained up. He's going to be taking a lot of damage there. He's going to be dropped down extremely low. That is going to be Dokla taking out the bot lane turret, though, as the rest of Golden Guardians are forced to back away from that one. TSM has been forced off of the Baron, but is going to be the inhibitor exposed on the bottom side of the map at the end of the day. TSM, despite the fact that they were forced off of the Baron, still get what they wanted in that bot lane turret. Silent Spartan doing his best to clear out this wave, doing his best to deal with Dokla's relentless pressure towards that bottom side of the map, towards that inhibitor turret. And, you know, you got to feel bad for the single tank in this game, because he can only do so much in order to keep his team alive here, and also as the only form of engage, his job is extremely difficult. He has to answer the split push. He has to be able to keep an eye on his teammates to make sure nobody's getting picked off. He also has to make sure that he's looking for good opportunities to look for these picks for his team, to make a way to have the enchanted crystal arrow land for sure, using his taunt. And all around, Zion Spartan has been doing his absolute best. He's dropped down about 60 CS at this point in the game, so a pretty hefty gold advantage going over for Dokla. And we see kind of where the advantages of Dokla constantly having pressure in his lane coming into play here. Shen had the early game advantages for Golden Guardians when it comes to the lane matchup, but now that Dokla is, oh my god, there goes Chime, is lost, finds him over the wall. 4.5 completed items for the Senna as he finds the root, he finds the auto Q, and is able to just burst the karma out of this game. One more dragon is going to be going over to TSM off the back of that play there, as Evolved is on the top side of the map. He's actually getting ran down by a Blaze. All of that is not going to be one of the volleys coming in by the Corki here. He's trying to make his way. That looked like what was a teleport, but did it get canceled? Dokla not able to make his way into that one, is Zion Spartan for sure canceled that one. Well played by the top laner of Golden Guardians. Unfortunately for Ablaze Olive, he was not able to pick up the kill there. Instead is going to be using his teleport towards the bottom side of the map, is going to be trying to find his way onto Dokla here. Keith coming in as well. That is going to be the stopwatch attempt. Frig comes in or assault for time. Ash is going to get caught out of position, but it flashes away. Now Ragnarok pop, but is Winston going to be able to make anything happen? No, there is too much damage coming out by Golden Guardians. Have they hit the magic number? Have they hit the magic point? Evolve goes forward. Keith gets chunked, but he is still alive. He is healing up so much as the Evolve goes down hard, continues to this one. Lost is going for it in order to continue on to Zion Spartan, who's teleporting to the back of this fight. He is stalling time. He's waiting for his carries to catch up. Ablaze Olive gets rooted, and now they're just trying to kite out as much as they can on the end of TSM, but Lost is forced to flash over the wall. Is he going to be able to make it out alive? Hard with the flash, hard with the Q, is going to be able to find the auto attack and gets a kill. Winston goes to the portal. Are they going to be able to find this kill? They will. Winston goes down as well. It was Biofrost being able to run his way out of that one, and Golden Guardians turn this one around. They are able to find themselves 3 kill. Now they're the ones with the map advantage, and they should be the ones going over towards this Baron buff, primed and ready for them to take with 3 members of TSM dead. We said it was only a matter of time for Golden Guardians before they just start winning these fights due to the sheer amount of damage that they're going to be able to pump out in these team fights, and there we see it happen. Taking a look at the items, you have 4 items finally for Key. You're still 2,500 gold behind, but more importantly, Graves is ahead in gold. Corki is ahead in gold, and those are going to be 2 great scaling late game AD carry champions. You have 3 items completed for Hard. You have 3.5 completed for Blaze Olive, including the upgraded Mira Mana and the Infinity Edge coming out from this Corki, doing so much on-hit damage. Hold on a second, we do have Dokla taking another trade towards this bottom side of the map. It looks like Golden Guardians might want to try and force a play onto the split push Camille, who's been a thorn in their side this entire time, but he knows what's happening here. He backs off with the understanding that his teammate has backed away. Biofrost taking the back timer there in the middle of the jungle. And now with Baron buff, what is Golden Guardians going to be able to do? TSM was able to pick up 4 turrets and nearly take down a 5th for themselves in the middle lane, as well as put heavy amounts of damage across all inhibitor turrets. Golden Guardians have not been able to pick up a turret just quite yet with this, as they've been pushed into their side of the map this entire time. However, they do have 4 people just running it down the middle of mid lane. Nobody is there to respond on the side of TSM. This is a slow back coming in from them. That is going to be the inhibitor going down absolutely for free for Golden Guardians. They just walk it in. Zion Spartan sitting in base. He does have the Stand United available. That's going to be a Temper Fate. That's actually going to make Lost dodge all of his abilities. That is going to be a Sun coming out to Kate, though. He's standing still. He's getting a lot of attacks, but it doesn't matter. He gets so much damage. Winch is down. This is Golden Guardians with an advantage. Zion Spartan is still alive. He was able to get his Stand United in there. He is in this fight. And it is 1 member only. 2 members of TSM down. Dokla went down as well in the bottom side of the map, or on the top side of the map. The enemy base, that's Evolved though. Great dashboard coming in. He's able to find Keith. Now, it's Evolved back side of the fight trying to make things happen, but it's a Blaze Olive that finds the kill onto the Blanc. It is 2v4. Is TSM going to be able to stall out for the rest of the team to spawn here? Winston, 20 seconds left. Dokla, 25. Shutdown. Biofrost finds 1. That is Zion Spartan dropping down extremely low as well. Lost the carry that we've been looking for this entire game. He gets 1 more auto attack. Is he going to be able to find his way? The one that matters. There it is. The shutdown onto Hard. He finds another kill. Chime is burning. He is slow. 1 more auto attack from Lost should be able to make this one happen, but Biofrost gets slowed down, and Lost does not have the pathing. Zion Spartan and Chime will make it out alive off the back of this one, unless there is some insane Tempered Fate coming in by Biofrost. That's going to be the ace coming in from TSM. He got the cooldowns back, and he was able to make the picks for himself. TSM turned that one around. They denied the Baron power play. They denied the end of the game. But Golden Guardians pushed it to the limit with that one, and they really scared a lot of TSM fans at home. Dokla, though, that's a teleport into base. He's able to pick up the inhibitor there. The rest of TSM is also moving their way up through this bottom side of the map. Are they going to try and push this one in? They don't have enough time. A Blaze Olive just spawning. Chime 15 seconds. Hard 5 will be spawning any second now, so it is going to be the back off from the rest of TSM. If they were able to pick up the inhibitor for TSM, it is going to be advantageous for themselves in order to match the mid lane inhibitor, but is not going to be in the same lane. A slower rotation on those super minions for TSM will give them the opportunity for larger, more fat stacked waves, but is it going to be enough in order to buy them this game? Last Dragon will be going down. Great pick up there by TSM Academy. They had the timers on it. Their entire team was alive on the death timers. This is the important part. Golden Guardians, unfortunately, were still suffering from their loss in the enemy base there, which means that fabled 4-wind Drake soul with the Olaf Ragnarok has come true. So I am about ready to see Winston absolutely run down these 3 AD carries, as they will not have any CC or slows or anything of that sort available for themselves when you have a super speeded Olaf running you down. And this is really where Lost Senna pick, once again, comes in a massive play for him and his team, being able to not only deal the damage that he needs to because of how strong he has gotten over time, completing all 5 of his item with boots on this side, but he's also going to be able to heal and shield his Olaf, to be able to heal and shield his Camille, and just really support these 2 engaged bruises that he has going on for his team that are perfect for running down the AD carry composition that Golden Guardians have for themselves. Are TSM going to be able to find their way into this fight, or are Golden Guardians going to be able to kite their way out of a negative fight here? Elder Dragon is going to be spawning in 4.5 minutes here. Baron, though, the next big buff on the list here, spawning in about just a minute here. TSM is already trying to contest for that ward coverage in the enemy side of the jungle. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians coming in and denying them what they can. Zion Spartan feels like he has not left the bottom lane this entire game as he continues to answer these super minions, continues to answer the split push that Dokla has been pressuring him with. But keep in mind that Zion Spartan does have his Stand United available as well as his teleport, whereas Dokla does not have that teleport. He used it in order to pick up that bottom lane inhibitor, so there is going to be a potential 5v4 man advantage for Golden Guardians around this Baron if they're able to find an inside track into the pit, force TSM to fight them on their turfs while Dokla is not pressuring Zion Spartan in the bottom lane. But it is TSM that once again we see constantly just keeping the pressure high. It feels like this entire game has been tempo advantage for TSM, constantly pushing in waves, constantly pressuring these turrets, constantly making sure that Golden Guardians have to react to whatever they are doing time and time again. We see once again more deep wards going into Golden Guardians side of the jungle as TSM, did they neglect their minion wave? No, it looks like they remember that they have a mid wave that is open this time around as 4 members of Golden Guardians are going to be running it down through the bottom side, through the middle side of the map. They immediately back off. That was a genius rotation coming in by Golden Guardians. They forced everybody from TSM to call the bluff on the mid lane ending there. They're going to be going straight towards this Baron. TSM has to respond to this one. Teleport coming in from the LeBlanc in order to try and get behind the pit. There is still the Stand United for Zion Spartan, who's going to be starting this one off. Winston runs into the pit in order to get a ward down. That's going to be Evolved on the backside of the fight. Who are they looking for? Chime drop down extremely low. Dokla's going to be able to pick out that one. And it's Evolved that finds Keith. TSM has found 2 kills for themselves. The Blaze Olive is extremely low. He is going to be forced to flash over the wall in order to keep himself alive, but Zion Spartan is doing his best to find his teammates. That will be 1 kill picked up for a Blaze Olive before he goes down any second now, and he will be picked up by Dokla. It is an absolute smash coming in by TSM as Olaf is able to find himself yet another kill. Biofrost taking that one away, and TSM were able to make the double rotation, answering the Golden Guardians' massive play that they tried to make, but it is not going to be enough. As TSM find the ace, that is going to be 40-second, 50-second death timers across the board. Super minions are already in the base. TSM, they weren't able to find much, but when they found what they could, it was huge. They're going to be taking down the first Nexus turret, and they will be securing their 2nd place and bye for the playoff finals. TSM win this game.